And now we continue analyzing the implications of this free trade agreement that was announced between the Mercosur and European Union. For this, we welcome international analyst Ermelinda Malcote. Hello, Ermelinda. Thank you for joining us here and from the South.
Thank you for inviting me.
Of course, it's a pleasure to have you. So Mercosur and the European Union have announced a free trade agreement, although this still has to go through national parliaments. But what would a free trade agreement like this entail? Who are those most interested on its approval?
Well, in Europe, there is a great division about the Mercosur and European Union free trade agreement. Germany and Spain are the most interested in signing the treaty. And we have countries like France, Poland, the Netherlands, Italy, Greece, and other countries that are opposed to it. So that's the main interest for Germany and Spain is to export their industrial products. And the main concern of France and other countries is about agriculture.
And also, Ermelinda, just to keep in mind, on the Latin American side, what would such an agreement entail?
Well, making a free trade agreement with the European Union is never a good sign for Latin America, I believe, because we have, unfortunately, practices of imperialism, and this is why the treaty has been so long to negotiate, because European Union has always been wanting to take the more the Union could take from the Latin American countries into the Mercosur, and of course European Union will always benefit from it. So it has been very long to negotiate because of the imperialist interest of European Union. They have come to an agreement, but with time the details of the agreement has not been known, because the European Union has negotiated with very no transparency actually. So there will be custom duties that will be lowered very much, almost to zero. But yes, you cannot expect trading with the European Union a fair trade. It will be asymmetrical for Latin America, unfortunately.
Right, and you were before saying about the restrictions and also the protests that several European countries have had, the sectors of the population from these countries have had to this possible free trade agreement. Could you get a little bit more into why that is? Why do some sectors, for example, the agricultural sectors of countries like France, for example, have had such massive protests against this agreement?
Yes, the problem that exists in France is that the farmers in France are very diverse. You have a great part of them which are very poor, and you have the very big farms, transnational farms. But on the streets, you can see the poor farmers. For example, in France, to give some data, the revenue of 1/3 of the farmer is less than 350 euros a month, which is less than 1/4 of the minimum salary of French people. The investment they have to make to build a farm is moreover €500,000. So they are highly in debt. And if you take another data, the suicidal rate of the farmers in France is 45% higher than in the general population. There are people that suffer a lot of the condition they are working in, and it's for sure the free trade agreement with Mercosur will penalize them. On the other hand, we have big farms that are in favor of it, because generally they produce meat and they need soya, they need a lot of product that will be exported from Argentina and the Mercosur country. So this is the big division. And of course, Macron, which is the president of France, he's facing he's on the verge to be dismissed as president of the country. So he cannot afford to have higher and higher strikes and protests from part of the farmers, which represent a political force into France. Yeah, there is also from the opposition of a lot of countries in Europe the question about the sovereignty of those countries, of the state members of European Union, because One specificity of the free trade agreement that is signed in European Union is that it doesn't need the unanimity of the country. It just needs a majority of them. Generally, the European Union works with unanimity. So it pushes a problem that has been discussed into European Union since a long time, which is the loss of sovereignty of the states member of European Union, and it's really triggering a lot of country. We have heard a lot about Hungary about those subjects, especially for his position in front of the Ukraine war. But now we are seeing that on really important things, which is alimentary sovereignty, also European Union is questioned.
And Melinda, you were just talking about some of the internal national struggles that also every country is going through, for example, the particular situation in France. So this agreement should have to be ratified in the national parliaments. Now, what could that look like on the road ahead?
Well, so European Union is 27 countries, and they would only need 17 of those countries to sign and to agree with the free trade agreement with Mercosur. So we are almost certain that the agreement will pass, but it will pass on the detriment of the interest of some countries. This is something common in European Union. The European Union generally acts against the interest of some of those countries, for example, Greece. But in that case, what is special is that one of its main members, France, is completely opposed to it. So it will pass, but it will bring a lot of questions about European Union. Those questions are in the air since a long time, and it will be worsening. One main key in the free trade agreement is that it is not only a question of free trade from the part of European Union, but it also a geostrategical interest. The future foreign affairs of European Union, Kaja Kallas, she has stated that if we don't sign the agreement with Mercosur, China will do. So we are clearly seeing that European Union is following as ever the geopolitical interest of United States in that stake. And it's also questioned by a lot of member states of the European Union.
And it's definitely a topic to follow in this geopolitical context and the way that things are changing. So thank you, Ermelinda, for joining us and also bringing all this analysis to better understand the situation.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Of course.